All right, hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Always a Patriot John Jay Soccer podcast. I'm Brendan Horton, joined as always by Coach Robert Seipp. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. How are you, Coach?
I'm good, thank you. And we have a very special guest this week. Last week we had former player Ray Troshi on, and changing gears this week we have another, I said in our first episode, the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Seipp. This week we have the man, the myth, the legend, Tim Hourahan on. Coach of Lakeland High School, creator and organizer of Lakeland Soccer Summer League, one of the founding members of the Hudson Valley ID Soccer Camp, a college ID camp. We'll kind of talk about all those things. But Coach, how are you?
Good, guys. How are you? So happy to be on. It wasn't lost on me. I went with the John Jay East Fishkill Carolina Blue top today. So always a Patriot. I'm here for you guys and excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. It's good to have you. You have the talk a little bit about kind of your you've been at Lakeland for a long time now. You're a section championship coach. Talk about your time at Lakeland.
Yeah, what a fantastic run. Kind of like right place, right time. Way back in 2000, I didn't have a teaching job, and if you remember the old school penny saver, I happened to pick up the penny saver. I graduated college playing soccer in the spring of 2001 and couldn't get a teaching job, but they were looking for a JV soccer coach at Lakeland. And I met Larry Jensen, a longtime legend that probably robs Coach Seipp members. And I met him in a pizza shop. And 2 days later, I was coaching the JV soccer team. And, I'm sure Coach Horton, you remember Denny Robinson. It was about August 28th. He walks on the field and says, "Hey, Bub, you want a teaching job?" And I was like, right after practice, I went and signed my paperwork. And that was the fall of 2001. And I've been at Lakeland ever since. This was my 20th year coaching varsity. I did a bunch of years at JV before that, and great place to be. I know you're in the district as well on the other side, but it's been a great run, great community, and I live in town now, so now my sons are coming through the program.
Oh, awesome. That's great to hear. They're coming through, and that's
just fantastic. Like Coach Seipp. That's right.
Yeah. We graduated one last year, and we got one more Seipp in the soccer program, and you got 4 boys?
I do have a 4-pack. Yeah, I do have a 4-pack. We've got a back line. Just had a game with one of them tonight, which was really fun and exciting. But my oldest is a freshman, and my youngest is in pre-K. So I got a few more years, and hopefully one of these guys, we can run ourselves into another plaque in the next 8 to 10 years. But excited to get these guys into the high school program over the next few years.
That would be huge. I've spent a lot of Saturdays of the last fall and spring trying to make sure that my 4-year-old daughter gets a D1 scholarship.
I love the updates. I see them.
Anything else is unacceptable. I've let her know already. And we're not crying anymore, so that's huge steps in the right direction. She'll play with anyone but me. So that's awesome. You are definitely a staple, not only at Lakeland and in the Lakeland community, but in Section 1 as a whole. So Coach Seipp and I have talked a number of times about you in the sense that we feel that the two of us put so much time into the John Jay Soccer program, like just an unbelievable amount of hours. And you put a same amount of time into the Lakeland soccer program, but in addition, you put so much time into Section 1 as a whole. And it's inspiring. It's fantastic. Like, what has kind of spurred that on for you or caused you to do that, to kind of put so much into Hudson Valley soccer and Section 1 soccer, for players and teams that they don't come up through you. Our players at John Jay benefit from all these things that you do. First of all, thank you. Kind of, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I love it. So I kind of think I always knew I wanted to be a coach. It was kind of always like my passion and calling. And I kind of had 2 options for college. I was going to be phys ed. It was Brockport or Cortland. I ended up at Brockport, played soccer. Coaching was always my passion. I can remember being a middle school kid and coaching elementary kids and loved it. Fast forward to where we are now, coaching in the high school. There's a great amount of pride for the town like you guys have. Kids always make fun of me that the only tops I own are Lakeland Soccer tops, which is fine. So I have a great amount of pride in the town. And again, we moved to this town, so now my kids are part of it. So for my own guys, it's just been a part of my life, and we're coaching all the time. It's kids in the community, and I love it. But I work with some really cool people and some really great coaches in my time. Sharon Sarson, I probably have heard the name 1,000 times, and she's probably the number 1 coach in all of high school sports. And I worked with her for 20 years and kind of piggybacked off her. And to be honest with you, the summer league started because of her. She was running and still does. She's on about year 30 of her field hockey league. And, you're sitting in the locker room or sitting in the gym and you're knocking ideas off of each other. And, because of her summer league is how the Lakeland Summer League started. She's like just get it going. The hardest thing is to get it going. And I've said many times, the first year with 2007, we had 4 teams. And you look to what we got Sunday. We have a 16-team league. It spurned off other leagues. Ostening's running a league that you know very well, and it's been a great passion of mine. This area, the high school soccer. I grew up here. Again, I've had some good mentors that kind of helped me along the way, and the hardest thing was to get it started, and now it kind of runs itself. The schedule is there. The coaches know, the players know. They look forward to it. Sometimes I see on jumping all over the place. Sometimes I see on kids' resumes, they will put my team won the Lakeland Soccer Championship in the summer. Like it's kind of a big deal, and it's fun. It's competitive. Coaches are into it. The players are into it. And, it's been a passion of mine. I love coaching. I love being around kids. And I have a great deal of pride, for Lakeland, but now this area as well. And nothing gives me more pride than this ID camp and players going on to play at the next level.
Yeah, listen, Tim, we love it. Right, Coach? We just love being a part of it. I do remember we were at a Section 1 dinner, Coach, and you and I were just sort of, in the lobby, making small talk. I was always jealous of that summer league and always wanted to be a part of it, and just had sort of said to you, you're doing the summer league again. I don't know if you remember this. And you
Absolutely.
said, to me, well, believe it or not, we just had a team drop out. You guys interested? And I was like, are we interested? Yeah, we'd love to do it.
Yeah.
And every year since, it's been a huge part of our summer program, getting the guys ready for the fall.
Yeah, it's become a staple for a lot of teams, part of their calendar, right? Like everyone kind of has their winter programs that they like to do indoors and workouts, and the summer program has become a great part of it. Teams that play in the league are typically pretty successful in the fall. They get a jump on everybody else. It's a great way to see rising JV players. It's a great way to see returning varsity players, and it's 11 aside. It's 2 high school refs, scoreboard music. We try and match as much as we can the fall setting. Yeah, I mean, the summer I look forward to so much. I mean, I hang out with my kids, and it's just a lot of like-minded people hanging around Lakeland High School, talking soccer and wanting to be around soccer. And that's probably the best part of it.
Yeah, it's an awesome atmosphere. We have so much fun there, and it's so beneficial, like you said, and I'm sure, there's sometimes other coaches who are asking us about our players and stuff. And like, we're spending that whole time looking at our own players, it's like you said, such a great opportunity to see how players play and have progressed. And it gives us so much valuable information prior to August, because like, even if you're getting out and playing, for us, blue versus white or whatever, like it pales in comparison to playing even a 60-minute match against Lakeland or against, some other Somers who were playing on Monday. It's just so different to get out there and see how guys look compared to last year, how guys' fitness look, how they're, look in different facets of the game. And it's an invaluable resource.
Yeah, it's situation stuff too, right? Moving maybe a kid. I know you said you had 85 midfielders this year, which is fantastic. I could use a few, but sometimes you're moving guys into different positions as well. Maybe you were a center back last year and you're moving to a center mid, or maybe you were an outside winger that you're moving into the middle. So it's those type of situations, and getting on the ball and getting comfortable with the players is important. And it's been fantastic. And like I said, Coach Sarson pushed me to do it. I'm so glad that she did. And, now we get to share all these great moments and memories. And, there was a curse for a little bit of time there. So this is the 18th year of the Summer League. And we've only had 3 times where somebody won the Summer League and won a sectional title the same season. So it's super competitive. I know you guys won one, right? And it's a good memory I'm sure those players have. But again, it's all about preparing for the fall.
Yeah, good stuff. And Tim, you do, like Coach Horton said, you do such a good job. It's such a good environment. We love the music playing during halftime and pregame. You give us an opportunity to warm up. Now you've got the 2 turf fields, like you say, just going from a 4-team league to now a 16-team league is it's awesome. And like Coach Horton said, the level of play, Yorktown is so good. Somers is so good. You guys are so good. We just really love being a part of it, and, makes our players better. And like Coach said, just gives us an opportunity to see our players in that competitive light and see what they can do. And as you say, moving the positions around is huge too. The lineup that we go with in our first Summer League game, right, Coach, is probably drastically different than the lineup that we put out for our first sectional game.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of, progress that you're making and evaluation that you're doing throughout the summer and then even into the fall season. So just to have those 8, 10 games in the summer, really adds to the 16 games that you've got in the fall. So helps us do a better job. I think helps our players to understand what we're looking for. It's just awesome for everyone. And I'll tell you, the parents love it too, right, Coach? I mean, the parents are in the stands. They get really into it as well. And you're right. We did win one. I wasn't there. I was at a baseball tournament with my son. But Coach got us the victory. Did we win that in PKs, Coach?
We did, yeah. Overtime PKs against Somers. It was our first year in the league. It was awesome. The environment was great, and even like Tim said earlier, it was a great opportunity then to see who can step up and hit pressure penalties. I can't mimic that in practice where they're taking it against our goalkeeper who's had 40 penalty kicks taken against them by this kid. It was a really, really good, fun experience. The kids loved it. I loved it. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to win again since then, but we're trying. We're trying. No, it is. It's great. It's really, really great.
Yeah. And Tim, you talk about the whole community coming together. I have memories of that, Coach, of me being at a restaurant with my son's baseball team and all of those kids and all of those parents with their phones out following on Twitter, and we're into overtime, we're into PKs, we're up 2-1. So just the whole community gets into it, even if they're not soccer players. People are really involved in what's going on in that Lakeland Summer Soccer League.
It is fun. It's funny to see the games in June and July. Everyone just kind of going, getting their guys out there, trying to get everybody time. But then when you get into that knockout playoff of the Summer League, it's so true. It's ratcheted up just a little bit. It's almost, on a smaller scale, replicates sectional week, which is really fun. And we had PKs last year. The finals was Yorktown Ardsley. That went to PKs as well, which is really cool. So it's a competitive league, and I think everyone looks forward to it. And just like you guys, with my staff, we probably had 25 texts in the last few days how we're going to put out a first 11 on Sunday night, which is crazy. It's not even the end of the school year, and we're thinking about lineups and formation, and it's just gets the brain going and the players thinking, and it's really, really fun.
It's a great opportunity just to see if someone can play somewhere else too. I remember last year, playing a kid at center mid in one of our early games, and he was like, I don't really play there. And I said, well, what if the kid who's supposed to play there gets hurt? Are we just, can I put you there? Or are we just in trouble? Is it,
we gonna play with 10?
What are we going to do? So here's a lower stakes opportunity to do that. And who knows, maybe you're fantastic there, right?
Correct.
I'm not going to put you there in one of our league games for the first time. I mean, I might have to, but here's a great thing that I can be able to do to see how it works there.
Right. Right.
Oh, okay. I'm just writing names on a piece of paper at random.
There's a lot of thought that goes into it. And again, Summer League is so strong because of the coaches we have, and they're into it, and they're consistent, they're competitive, they're great with their kids. And, if they weren't there, it would be a different feeling, but because everybody's into it, it's a great group. We have some great programs, and, I can't wait for Sunday. It's crazy. Can't wait. Yeah.
It's crazy that it's here already. It always jumps up because it's before the end of the school year. It's always all of a sudden it's oh, wow, I gotta, I'm staying after school for an extra couple hours and then running over to the Summer League game instead of heading back up to Dutchess.
Right.
I can't wait. I can't wait to check out Granite Knolls. I've heard so many great things about there. And I personally have never been there.
Beautiful,
right up the road from where I am. But I've heard so many good things.
It's a beautiful park. It's used by our club teams like Shrub Oak, YSA use it as well. As you know, we're having graduation this week, so we got bumped up to Stadium Field, so we moved one night to Granite. But side by side, 2 turf field complex, really, really nice.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
I know that the girls do play there, or at least they
play their
used
summer
to.
league. They do. They still do.
Sully used to tell me how awesome of a facility it is.
It's fantastic. Yep.
Got a baseball field there as well, Coach.
There's a turf baseball field as well. Yeah. It's about 400 to center, but great facility.
So again, you've done amazing things for the last 18 years with the Summer League for the high school programs. And then 6 years ago?
This is going to be year 8 this summer, if you can believe it.
Is it that many already?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So 8 years ago, yourself, a couple other coaches, I think Rich Becker, Matt Allen,
Brian Lanzetta.
Brian Lanzetta from Somers. Yeah, you guys got together and decided to create a college soccer showcase in the Hudson Valley for Section 1 and other local players. What made you guys head in that direction or come up with that thought?
Again, it was another one of those things where it was, all right, the hardest part, let's see if we can get this thing started. And I got to give a lot of credit to Brian Lanzetta. We were both coaching club teams, same age groups at the same time. And we were traveling to a zillion tournaments to get our kids seen. Our kids were traveling far away and spending lots of money to go to these the Cortland ID camp, the Pennsylvania ID camp, the Elite 100 camp. And it got to a point where, hey, can we do something for our own kids right here? And I can remember like it was yesterday, 8 years ago, Brian's like, meet me at the Yorktown Diner at 3:00. It was Saturday afternoon. And we sat there for hours over some bacon, egg, and cheeses and coffees. And we just spitball ideas back and forth about how we can get it started, what we needed to do. And it took off. Again, it was the hardest part was getting it started. And what really made the camp what it is today was the level of players that attended the first year. We had the kid, Mara from Ossining, who went on to St. John's. We had a couple All-Americans come that year, like Dippolito from Somers. And, like those kids went to big-time colleges their first year. Not that the St. John's coach was certainly not at Lakeland, but the fact that we had players attending this camp go on to big college experience in their first year. We had a fantastic group. And again, did it help that the cost is really low in comparison to these other ID camps? Sure. Did it help that kids can only travel a half hour instead of 4 hours to a camp? Sure. But again, the level of player in year one was fantastic. We had some top players, again, kids that were all Americans. And it kind of took off from there. And what ended up happening, and as you guys know, is this is a hotbed of New York State soccer, is the SUNYs started. The SUNYs are like, we need to be there. And the SUNY coaches all got on board. And every year, 8 or 9 of those SUNY coaches are on the field. They're coaching, they're watching. And it's been a fantastic endeavor. And it all started at the Yorktown Diner 8 years ago over a bacon, egg, and cheese with Coach Lanzetta.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's so good because we have the same thing where our players are going up to Cortland. They're at a different college ID camp all the time. And, you guys do it cheaper. There's no hotel needed. Right. And you're getting the same quality of training and evaluation because Coach Seipp and I have attended a couple of them and it's fantastic. It's so well organized. It's well attended. It's, very professional. You have the booklets for everyone. And, you give the kids an opportunity to get something in their backyard that they otherwise wouldn't have without sacrificing anything at all, in terms of exposure or quality. There's lots of coaches there. The guys that you bring in to run the sessions are fantastic. I was looking at when I sent the email out to our players, I was looking at the people you had on the schedule, and it's awesome. I can't wait to come see this year again, and see what's going on. We have a couple of guys attending. I wish we had more attending. We push it because
we've had some of your boys, Mr. Rabati, who's been at Barris, and now he's killing it at Oneonta.
Yep.
One of my favorite players of yours all the time, always a Patriot, Mr. Mark Tricarico, right?
Mark Tricarico.
Tricarico.
Yeah.
He was in that first year, ended up at WestCon, like just a beautiful kid, right?
So
an all-timer.
Just so
Captain.
you know, his little brother Luca is going to be a 9th grader next year. He's fantastic. He's fantastic. So he's
I'm
coming
sure you're
through.
happy
We're
to get
pumped.
another one of them.
Yeah, we're pumped.
Yeah.
We're pumped about him.
What a family.
So I saw, and there's nothing better than following those kids and seeing that he was captain at WestCon, right? Like a leader in the college, like amazing, and Rabati and some of these kids learn, and maybe Zach can come back and talk to these kids. Hey, I thought I had to be D1, go to Marist. And then I realized, oh, wow, this is what it is. And now he's having the time of his life at Oneonta, I'm sure, like big time player and a team that can go to the NCAAs every year. Yeah, we've in our first 7 years, we've had 170 kids go on to play college at about 69 different schools,
Awesome.
All the way down to South Carolina to anywhere on the East Coast. It's been amazing to follow, amazing to watch. And, the one thing I think that may be a little bit different from, like, let's say a Cortland ID camp where they're just trying to grab every kid that they can grab is, we kind of root and pull for these kids like in a sectional tournament. If Rabati had a hat trick, we're going to tweet it on the HV website. Hey, this kid is balling out, so that's another way to attract more kids. They love that social media stuff. So we're rooting and pulling for those kids all the time. And, to be honest, it kind of gotten to the point where, every March or April, we'll get a call from a coach who says he can't make it down, but I need some information on these two kids. And you could almost steer a kid and change a kid's life, which is really, really cool. And I've gotten some beautiful emails from players about it. And that's what makes it the best is, you were able to help in any little way and you kind of made a difference. And, certainly some kids are so good, they don't need my help. And then other kids you're able to help has been a fantastic thing. And looking forward to it again this year. It's July 11th through 13th. And, we'll have 75 of the best players in the Hudson Valley, Connecticut, Long Island. And they come and compete, and 20, 30 college coaches sitting in the stands, coaching and watching.
It's awesome. And I think we've got such good talent here in the Hudson Valley too. So Tim, you really do a good job of, spotlighting those players and getting them looks at the different colleges. And as Horton said at the very beginning of this, you do such a good job at Lakeland, but it is unbelievable what you do for the entire section. And you're right, to have you rooting for kids, in the sectional tournament and tweeting out stuff for other players. I have a tough enough time just doing it for the John Jay guys. So that's why we just love talking to you. We love being a part of that summer league. We love just knowing you because you just do such a good job for not only, like I said, the Lakeland kids, but all the kids in Section 1 and in the Hudson Valley. So
and listen,
on behalf of all of them, thank you, Tim. Thank you.
It's thank you. I appreciate it. Coming from you, it means a lot. I can remember my first year in '05 sitting in like cafeteria or the auditorium or gym at Byram Hills and guys like you or Becker. And I'm like, oh man, I wonder if I'm ever going to be around as long as these guys. And here I am. And I'm just hanging on and loving it and enjoying every bit of it for sure.
For me, Tim, I enjoy you much more now that you're not beating me up like when I was at Panis. You became a much more pleasurable person for me personally.
Yes.
When I didn't have to get slapped around, because when I was at Panis, that's when like John Dennis was playing for you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some tough times at Panis for me.
It's that Lakeland Panis thing is quite a trip, huh? Sometimes you can throw the records out, but I can remember those games when you were there, and you did a great job with what you had, and now you're back where you belong in the Carolina Blue and with Coach Seipp and loving life.
I enjoy very much being an assistant coach. I think that it's my role. It's what I love doing when I was up in Guilderland, and then it's just I like to be able to throw myself in as much as I can, and then when I can't, I can kind of do less. So
Right.
I very much enjoy that dynamic.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't know if
one
you're
seat
really
over
an
to the right,
coach. I don't know if you're really an assistant coach, Horton.
It looks like co-head coaches to me.
Yeah, definitely. You do such a good job with our program. We're incredibly lucky to have you, no doubt about it.
Oh, thank you.
Tim, talk to us about your own kids. How many kids you have? Different sports that they're playing. Because I'm in a similar situation with you where I've got two boys that play soccer, basketball, and baseball. And Horton's got a young girl at home that, he's gonna benefit from my experience and your experience. Talk to us about your guys at home.
Isn't it a really, really hard thing to navigate youth sports? It's becoming more and more difficult. And this, I'm talking from the parent side of it. You could kind of see what has happened and why we have so many single sport athletes now is because even, my son who's 12 years old and is getting on well in two sports, he's having to make a lot of choices and it's difficult. And the money spent on these sports, you could see why parents are, hey, we're just going to focus on one because we can't double up. But I do have four boys and I have, one of them who's playing the two sports and he last week had a spring championship game where he was a starting pitcher at 2:00 and at 3:30 he had a state cup game where he had to get there. So it was a really tough thing and he pitched. He pitched 4 2/3, had a couple at bats and at that time he left and he went to a soccer game. They won the soccer game. They've advanced to regionals. And those are some difficult moments. He's the one son that's still playing two sports and I want it to happen as long as it can. I can remember when they were 6, 7, or 8, they played everything. They played Gaelic, they played basketball, they played baseball, they played lacrosse, they played soccer. My oldest is just gone with the soccer now. My second child, who's 12, he's in 6th grade, is just juggling the balls and doing the best he can. And every youth sport is year round and every coach wants your kid all the time. There's a lot of money involved and he's still doing it. And I hope it could last all the way through 12th grade. I love those baseball summer tournaments just like you because there's nothing better than being a dad in center field and not having a coach. It's some of my favorite times. It's exciting. It's fun. And again, you get to be a dad and that's beautiful. Baseball is a great sport to watch. And then my third son, who I talked about before, we had a game tonight, which we won and he's into the soccer and baseball as well. And my 5-year-old is going to be a terror. Watch out for my 5-year-old. Oh my God. He's 5 going on 15 and he's everybody's home base, like the brothers may compete, but when he gets to the 5-year-old, he's everyone's best friend. And he's my assistant coach on the U10 team I just had. So it's been a great time and they're all going to be wearing the Lakeland green. So it's coming fast. And my oldest will be a sophomore next year, which is crazy. Wow. Crazy. Yes.
Wow. That's awesome. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy those times.
And I'm sure we'll have some questions this summer. I'll talk to you about what it is, because I've never coached my own son on a high school team, right? Because he's been on JV and that's a different dynamic. I know it's coming. I know there's been a few coaches to do it. So I'll be looking forward to pick your brain about that. It's the optics and the difficulty with it all. And again, I've been coaching my oldest and his friends since they were U8 and, now they're all coming through, but When it's high school, it's different than club. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic for myself. First time having to do it in the next year or two. So I'll be picking your brain, Coach.
Yeah, listen, my suggestion to you is just be yourself and be the great coach that you are. And so many people have so much respect for you. And as well as Horton knows, as a coach, you're always questioned. But I think the kids love you. I think the kids respect you. And, you just do what you think is best. And I think everybody will follow along. Unfortunately, there's always those people that'll complain, but definitely don't let it ruin your relationship with your son and with all those boys that you've coached,
and your wife at home too, right?
Travel.
That's another dynamic.
Yes.
Right. Hey, how come number 10 didn't get in the game today? Okay, all right.
Probably the most important person you got to keep happy in the whole equation.
Yeah, it's interesting. And, to be honest, I thought there was a time 4 or 5 years ago, like right around COVID, that I was not going to be interested and I was going to think about stepping down and letting someone else coach my kids. Forget it. I cannot wait for my kids to get there and I'm going to figure it out.
It's awesome.
Certainly, I told my 3 oldest, I got all 3 of you because my third one's in 4th grade. I'm going to teach for at least 8 more years. So I got you 3. And maybe whoever wins the plaque will be my favorite for the rest of life. We'll see what happens. But certainly some sort of bragging rights if we can ever be lucky enough to get back to a finals.
They're the top.
It probably would be nothing better than winning one with them, I would think.
Top one in the will. That's it.
That's right. That's right. You're listed first.
Do you coach all of them? Well, at least the 3 oldest. You coach all their club teams as well?
I do not. So I coach my oldest and my third. And my third actually plays on 2 teams, and he's really starting to get it, my 4th grader, which is, again, I coach him on the town Shrub Oak team. I'm involved heavily in Shrub Oak, but he also plays for a club team, and it's fun to go stand on the sideline with all the dads those games. So he's actually playing on 2 teams. I promised my 5-year-old that I'm going to coach him in rec, K1 rec, which is like the Saturday in-house program. I did it for every kid. So he definitely gets me for K1. We'll see after that. But my oldest has only had me as a coach outside of JV soccer. And my second son, I've never coached in soccer. And to be honest, the most competitive son I have, probably a good thing I don't coach him because he's the most like-minded person in my family like me. And we play a game of checkers and it could turn into a war. So he does not get me on the sideline till high school.
It'll be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. It's crazy. I know, like I said, even with my 4-year-old, we do the like the parent and me soccer on Saturday mornings, and she will play soccer with anyone but me. She would play with my wife, with my father-in-law, my brother, but she just, the minute I walk over, she will absolutely not play with me. And it's like she knows it's the only thing I want to do in my life. And she's like, absolutely not. So maybe one day, but maybe one day this spring it'll stop raining and we'll have soccer on Saturday.
Where do you want to stop to eat on the way home? And then you're biting your finger to how long you want to wait to talk about the game. It is funny, but it's a blast. It's a blast to be a dad and a coach, and you'll enjoy it. And she'll get there and she's going to love it. And you give her ice cream a few times after soccer, and that'll be the most important thing to her, and she'll love it and she'll want to go back,
Yeah. Last time we went, they had kind of changed where the micro fields were. So we went to where we were in the fall, and it was somewhere else. So I stopped by the concession stand to ask where we had to go, and we went there. And at the end, she's like, "Dad, can we go back to that place where you asked where the field was? And can I get candy?" And I was like,
"That's right. That's what she remembers." Yep.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Sure.
It's all about enjoying it at that young age, right? I mean, I always thought as a youth coach, you gotta make sure that the kids have fun, and I've always been a big skill guy too, So even if I'm coaching rec baseball, which I know nothing about, or rec basketball or youth soccer, I've always been a big proponent of teach those kids the skill of the game and make sure they are having fun, make sure they're enjoying it, because if they're not enjoying it and if they don't have the fundamental skills, it doesn't matter. By the time they're 10, 12, they're out doing something else, probably getting themselves in trouble. So,
right.
I've always tried to make sure that they have a good time. And ice cream I love ice cream. So you could take me for ice cream anytime, Coach.
I remember when I first started coaching up in Albany with Guilderland, I had to, they had like a U6, clinic Saturday program, and one of the coaches couldn't go. And they asked me if I could go. And I was like terrified because like I was 21, so just having to deal with 6-year-olds. And I'm like, I don't even know what to teach them. I don't know what to do. And I'll never forget Mike Canali saying to me, he goes, a U6 coach has one job, and it's to make those kids play soccer when they're 7. He goes, it's the only thing you have to do is make sure they have fun and make them just fall in love with playing. You deal with all that other stuff later. You need to create kids who like playing. and that's it. And I try and keep that in my mind all the time, even with, older kids. Like, it's supposed to be fun. And so much of like what we're doing at the high school, level ends up not being fun when, you're on top of guys and guys aren't playing and stuff like that. It ends up being, stressful for players and parents and coaches. Try and hold on to that fun for as long as possible. And we try and keep it in the high school as much as possible, but especially when they're little.
Yeah. I think I said we had that game tonight. I think, and the kids kind of knew it's funny. They're 10 years old. They knew if we won the game, we won the league. I said, guys, go out there, have fun. If you have fun and you play well, you might win. That's it. But have fun. And that was, it was a good night. I got a question for you. I know you guys are getting ready for the summer league. How are those, big listener of your new podcast here and the fitness and what you're planning to do? How are the workouts been so far? How have the boys been?
Well, that's what I was just going to ask you, Tim. I was going to ask you for some advice on what you do with Lakeland, because we're definitely struggling as a program with our players just not being fit and just not training on their own. They'll go to the soccer field. We see them at the soccer complex, the East Fishkill Soccer Complex, all the time. We see them at John Jay all the time, juggling the ball, taking penalty kicks against each other. Coach Horton and I were talking at the last practice. For the last 2 fall seasons, you're not going to believe this stat, we have not had a penalty kick taken for us. Not one player on our team has been fouled in the box. What'd you do to those Dutchess refs up there? No, it's not.
We don't have possession.
You're afraid to get in the box?
We don't possession in the penalty area.
Right. But here's the most frustrating thing as coaches, right? Our kids for 2 years have not gotten an offensive penalty kick, and all they do when we pass by, drive by, or walk by the soccer field at John Jay, they're taking PKs against each other, and it's like you got to get into the box, guys. So there's a lot that you got to do to get into the box. You got to get yourself fit. You got to work on your weak foot. You got to work on taking peeks. I mean, all these little things that add up to teams being successful. And it's just so frustrating for us because we just can't seem to get our guys to buy into that. So talk to us about Lakeland High School. What do you do? What's your secret?
So funny. June's a big month for us. Obviously, the summer league comes up, but we kind of have in tradition now. This is again my 21st year. We've done June workouts where it's open to all players. And in fact, I have a player that didn't make the team last year as a junior, and he's at these workouts because he wants to make the team next year. So it's open to all 8th through 11th graders. And we have 5 core fitness tests that we do. And we give them every June, right? The first couple of weeks of June. And then we also give them every August. We have a preseason camp. The kids call it Hell Week. It's a week before doubles. And we kind of take these 5 tests. Like I said, in June, we retake them in August. And those scores stay with you for the life. So if you're an 8th grader or a freshman, those scores are recorded and they kept all the way through your senior year. And, the kids are into it and they know it's coming. So it's, we just did the bench test the other day. We have 100 pounds and it's, there's no hiding from that. Every kid gets on the bench. We had a few kids get a 0. The weight came down and they're 90 pounds and they couldn't lift it up. We had one player do 49 reps, which was amazing.
Wow.
Then we have the other core test that we gave is the old school mile test. We have the beep test, which is a great thing for kids that are looking to play in college at the next level. The Cooper test is also another big test at college, so we like to show them that. That's the 12-minute run. And then the last one is the quarter, which is 1 lap around the track as fast as you can. So we have those 5 core tests. We set what you call a varsity standard for all the tests. Certainly Nick Gerussi, my assistant for 15 years here and played for me. He tells the kids every time, like, we have a 6:30 mile or better, or that's not a varsity standard. Gerussi will tell the kids all the time, I ran 7 minutes, but I scored 79 goals. So if that's going to be what you're going to do, that's fine. But you better do something very well if you're not at that standard. So the kids all know it and they know what the standards are. They push for it, and we've done 4 tests so far. I know I think I sent you guys a video of the beep. We did it the other night, and the kids were getting after it. And the one test we have left is a Cooper. It's probably the least favorite because it's, we set a standard of you got to get 7 laps in 12 minutes. The college standard might be 8. But we set it at 7 for high school, and a difficult test, and we're going to do that on Friday.
That's awesome. Coach, I'm taking notes. Don't worry. I got all these 5 core tests down, man.
And I gave this line to the kids the other day because we were doing the bench test, and I kind of asked them, and some kids, you could tell they've been in the weight room in the off season, so I gave them this line the other day, which it took them a while to get. I asked them, what is the heaviest weight in the weight room? So the kids are throwing at me 45-pound plates. They're throwing at me, 65-pound dumbbells. I said, guys, the heaviest weight is the front door because once you're in, you start working out. Just got to get there, got to get in. So I think they
Kind
understood
of
what I
like
was
the
saying.
summer league, right? Just getting that
Yeah.
summer league started or getting the camp started.
Get
Yeah,
it,
just
correct.
get in the weight
Hardest
room
part
or
is
get
getting
on the
started.
track with your running shoes, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Tim, I have a question about that. So how do you handle if you have a player who really excels at those fitness tests, but on the field, they struggle technically, they struggle tactically, because we've had players who, again, they come in, they're very fit, but they don't necessarily meet the soccer specific standards, so we unfortunately have, groups who have fantastic tactical and technical ability and their fitness is just, like mine. And then we have another group of kids who are just fantastic track athletes and general athletes. And with the ball at their feet, it leaves a lot to be desired. How do you deal with that?
Right. So ideally, you want a balance, right? You want kids that are fit and that can play. It's not a perfect world. It's high school kids. It's going to be a little of everything. Being fit helps you get in the door, I think. I think if you're unfit and not a good player, that's a really difficult thing. I think if you're fit and not a great player, maybe you can get there. We love speed. If you're fast, we would rather someone really fast than someone who could run forever, because we're probably only going to use you in short periods of time anyways, if you're not really good with the ball. It's a difficult balance. At Lakeland, we don't get 80 kids to try out. We're getting 50, 55 kids at Lakeland, even though we're a AA school this year, so we're kind of just shuffling pieces between varsity and JV rather than don't make. But getting fit gets you in the door for sure. It shows that you've been working hard and that's an important component of soccer, just like kids, why we mentioned, well, you have to be strong in soccer. You can't get pushed off the ball. You can't be 80 pounds and not be able to hold, you have to be able to battle. So, it's all components. The best is what I have right now is my junior captain will be a senior captain, is winning all the tests outside the bench, which is you want your best players to be your fittest kids. And that kind of drives the pack. So if you had to pick one thing, I would want my best player to also be my hardest worker and most fit kid. Cause man, 3 through 10 or even 10 through 20 are like, man, I got to catch that kid because he's our best player and our fittest kid.
Love it, Tim. Really good stuff. Really good advice for us as coaches. Really good advice for anybody listening out there that wants to play high school soccer and even beyond at that next level. Because Coach and I go to see these junior college soccer games. We go to see Division I college soccer games. And like you say, I mean, those guys are fast. Those guys are strong. And as Coach Horton says, they're pretty good with soccer ball as well. But yeah, they sure do. They sure do.
And I know, some of the tests you run, you'll see coaches at a higher level kind of, poo-poo those tests. But
of course,
at some level, you have to, again, the bench press is not the be all end all of strength. But it's definitely an indicator. And the same thing with running a mile and the same thing with running a 400. Like when you put those all together, you create at least some semblance of a profile for your speed and endurance and athleticism. So even if they're not the perfect tests, they're good, right? Like I think they do a good job separating fitness, fit players from unfit players, regardless of what, you may see on like a social media,
1,000%.
coach saying.
It's funny to see that. And these coaches who say that, like, they don't think their kids are out running, like they're college coaches and are high level club. You don't think those kids are getting fit on their own or doing it on their own, so it's an important part of it. We don't like to spend a lot of time, let's say maybe in the middle of September on it. We're going to do some maintaining and some here and there if we have a week off. But, and in June and August, we're testing. And I think keeping the records is important. I was just talking to this freshman yesterday, was a non-starter on JV, has killed it in club. And he went from a 7:47 mile as a rising freshman. He ran a 6:22 the other day. He cut a minute and 20 off. And he's killing it in practices too. And now he's a kid who's going to be like, all right, we're going to put you into summer league play now because you've done it on the club side. Now you're showing us that you're fit, you're ready to go. You're going to be a sophomore. And you love seeing that in kids. So when you're able to track them year to year and show, hey, you cut a minute off your mile time, or you went from 1 rep to 10 reps, like, I think that's great to follow.
Even for anyone who wants to say, like, well, the mile is not a great assessment, I assure you, the kid who runs the mile a minute and 20 seconds faster than last year is fitter and faster and more prepared for soccer, right? Like, I don't need any sort of advanced analytics or some special test. Like, the kid can out there, he runs better.
Yep. Get fit, get you in the door, 1,000%.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you can't, we have these kids who would be wonderful, amazing futsal players, but the field is big, and if you can't cover ground, like, the field's not played in the gym like it on our indoors, right? It's played on a giant field. And if you can't cover that ground, like it almost doesn't matter what you can do with the ball because you just can't keep up with play.
Right. You're behind it. You can't get to it. All those things. You're a step slow, 50-50. You're in there a half second too late. All those things count. Yep.
So we're emphasizing that a lot now.
Yeah, I love it.
Re-emphasizing, right? We kind of had fallen by the wayside a little bit, and we have put tremendous emphasis back onto it. Just to answer your original question, we've only had one session last Thursday.
Okay.
Our next one is tomorrow, where we're taping this Wednesday night. I thought we had a really good, in terms of effort, session. We did 30 minutes of kind of ball work, 30 minutes of fitness, and then we let them play big for 20 minutes or so. And that's kind of a similar plan for tomorrow, to a different set of fitness. And we actually other assistant coach Brian Fulton is an amazing person with that. He's run Ironman and stuff like that. So
wow,
he formulates these workout sessions designed to get their heart rate up and down and stimulate a lot of the change of direction and change of speed with soccer. So it's the kids hate it, but it's just great for them. That's great. Yeah. And it's one of those things. If kids hate it, it's probably great for them.
Right. Do you see a little bit, as your attendance pretty solid because you got the carrot out there, you're playing Somers on Monday night, like, hey, I'm going to see you at practice Friday. We have a game on Monday. Is that's a helpful thing, I would think.
We have like over 40 guys signed up for the summer. We had 24 guys the other night, but some of them, especially during the school year, they have tests and finals, they have club and stuff like that still. So we'll see what tomorrow looks like. But I was happy with having 24 guys there for the first session, and some guys who had reached out to us and told us they couldn't come.
Right.
It'll be well attended. And honestly, like the fact that they're working so hard may weed out those who really, aren't as committed as we'd like them to be.
Right. It's funny. It's getting harder to make a team. Like the days of showing up on August 25th and introducing yourself to coaches is no longer a thing, right? I mean, you guys are around your players in the winter, the summer, and the spring. And, that's kind of how it is, It's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful to see kids progress, but you guys put in a lot of time. It's a lot of your hours and time. And I use the line as well about, if I'm going to be here, I want to see you guys be competitive. I heard you guys say that in episode 1, and we had a chat with the players the next day. I kind of used your line about it. I said, guys, yes, you're here, but after fitness, let's compete. Let's be competitive with it, right? And let's get better. So let's not just be here. Let's get better tonight.
Tim, thanks so much, man. Thanks so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. Looking forward to those first set of games on Sunday. We don't play, but we'll be there, and free attendance, right? So for anybody listening, show up at Lakeland High School, and there's no cost to go into the bleachers and watch some really good high school Hudson Valley soccer. Bring some money because you guys have a fantastic snack bar there. You really do.
Support the Booster Club.
There you go.
So someone's got to pay for those 4th alternate jerseys,
That's right. Nobody loves gear more than I do. That's for sure.
You and me both.
Yeah. That's great. Guys, thank you so much. This was a blast. I hope you guys take off. I hope this podcast goes through the season. I'm going to be an avid listener. I'm a subscriber, and always root for you guys. As long as I'm not in the same class as you guys, I'm always rooting for you.
Well, I think
same, Tim. We're always rooting for you. I don't know if you could still hear us, but we're always rooting for you too, man. Love you so much. Thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you so much, Tim. We'll see you on Monday, and I'm sure we'll have you on again sometime in the future. So thank you again.
Thanks, Tim. Yep.
Take care. Bye.